Well, hey guys, you find me today not out on the motorcycle but here in my living room, where I'm going to be showing you guys how to use carbon vinyl to wrap any sort of plastics on your bike. So I'm going to do this rear hugger, mainly because I'm a bit of a pikey and I don't want to spend 400 euros on the real carbon hugger, which is a bit too expensive. So what I'm going to do is wrap it in this 3M carbon vinyl, and I'm going to show you how to do it. So stay tuned and stick around and I'll take you through it in a sec. I'll quickly run through the tools we're going to need for the job. Obviously we're going to need some 3M carbon vinyl, which you can order from eBay, Amazon, and a lot of other places. It depends, how much you want to spend on it. The prices vary quite a lot. But I use a German company which I order from. We've got some alcohol, some methylated spirits just for cleaning the hugger, just to get any dust off, etc. We've got some 3M primer, which you need to put on in certain corners of whatever you're wrapping, so that it just gives it a bit of extra adhesive for the the corners and the nooks and crannies that you need it to stick really well. We've got a craft knife, a cotton bud, which I use obviously with the primer to put it on. One of these squeegees for working the vinyl around, and a heat gun. This is the most important thing, actually, the heat gun, because without a heat gun you can't work with this stuff. I've spoken to a lot of people that they tried it and they couldn't get on with it. It is a fiddly job and it can get a bit annoying, but you have to stick with it. But you definitely need a heat gun. You can use a hairdryer if you haven't got a heat gun, but a hairdryer obviously takes a bit longer to get hot. These things obviously kick out a lot of heat, and it's a lot quicker. So that's the tools we're going to need, and let's get on it. Right, so what I'm going to do first is just take my alcohol and just give it a good clean, because you don't want any dust or any debris or any dirt under the vinyl to stop it sticking. This may be a bit difficult. I don't know if you can see it on the camera, but it's got some sort of structure to it. So I'm not sure how the vinyl is going to cope with that. But if it doesn't work out or it starts to lift after a time, then I'll just take it off, and maybe have it painted or something like that. So you need to get the alcohol on, especially where obviously you're going to be wrapping it over where you want it to stick. Obviously, pretty good. So just give it a good clean. Good. Right, the next thing we need to do is use our 3M primer and just work this around like the nooks and crannies where you really want it to stick and not to obviously to lift off after time. This only takes a few minutes to dry, so you can slap it on. So I'm just going to work this around the places where you're going to need an extra bit of stick. Stinks mine. Just work this on. Generally sort of in the crannies where it could lift off, because once I've showed you how to get this stuff to work, if it's under sort of tension over a while, then obviously that's where you want it to stick really well. Hopefully you can see this on camera. So I'm just working it in. I'm probably only going to go up to this edge and cut it all off neatly, and not overlap it over the top here where it screws onto the swing. And then what I'll do is obviously I want to I want to overlap the vinyl to have a bit of adhesion on this side, so just wipe a bit of it all the way around there. I've got one piece that was left over, but you obviously need to be able to have it bigger than what you need, so you can lock it over. So it's better, obviously, when you've got your big roll of it, is obviously to cut it to size. But that's pretty much okay for what we need. So that's fine. So what I'm going to do now is just peel the backing off. And basically just lop it on there as a fashion. At this point you don't have to worry at all about any creases or air bubbles. You know, we're going to work that in a sec. So just get it on there, just so you've got enough material everywhere that you're going to be able to fold it over, and you're not going to have, you know, pieces where you haven't got enough. This stuff is actually pretty hard when, you know, it's not workable at all as it is now. But as soon as you add heat to it, it becomes very soft and very workable. So dust on there. What we're going to do now is I'm just going to work at the start at the top. You don't have to worry about now getting in all the nooks and crannies, because once you've heated it up, it will actually be much more workable. So we're just going to probably start at the top here, or on one side. I'll probably start actually here. But you can see it move as soon as you've got some good heat on there. And you can heat this stuff up, you know, pretty hot, and it won't burn. Obviously it does have a limit to its madness. And you'll find it actually wants to go into the nooks and crannies all by itself, you know, just work it with the squeegee, you know, and if you do get an air bubble, that you can just lift it off and then work it out. Work it, baby, work it. You get loads of heat onto it, and it becomes very elastic. And then you can start to work it in. You can stretch this quite far without it actually ripping, or even before, you know, the lines in the carbon start to banana out or anything. You can actually stretch it quite far before that will happen. But, you know, you need to take your time with it. But don't worry about all the excess that's on the outside. All you're interested in is actually the body of the hugger, or whatever you're wrapping it itself. All you're interested in is obviously getting it on the top. You know, all this shit underneath, you don't need to worry too much about, because you're going to cut it off anyway. But with the heat, you know, it becomes very workable. See if I can get this crease out a bit. Yeah, you do have to work fairly quick with it, especially when you've got a corner where you get a bit of a crease in there. But if you make a mistake, this stuff you just reheat it and just pull it back off. You know, it's good in that respect. So I've got a little crease here, so I'll just heat it back up, stretch it a bit, pull it over. Starting to sort of take shape. I'll work on the middle now. So here in the middle we've got a centre bit that dips in, but all I'm interested in at the moment is working this top bit in so that it's nice and taut. Work it right into the crease there. All I want to do is just do the top, just to get the top all nice. You see, we've got a crease here, but we can sort that out. As I said, this vinyl is completely impossible to work with without heat gun. You know, it just won't allow you to do anything with it. So all you do is just heat it up and just work it about. Crease in the front there. A bit more heat and just work that up. Listen, I'm not worried about any of this stuff on the outside of the set because you're going to cut that off anyway, or most of it, just a bit, so you can wrap it around. Once you get used to working with it, it's you know, it's not too terrible. You know, people get frustrated very quickly with it, but that's generally because, you know, people haven't heated it up enough to be able to work with it properly. As I said, you have to be quick. You know, it goes. Once you've heated it up, it actually, you know, it goes very soft, but it doesn't stay that way for very long. So once you heat it up, you know, enough so that you can move it around, you have to be fairly quick with it before it, you know, it goes back to its original hardness. A little bit of a kink there. Happy with that. So starting to take shape. A couple of little air bubbles, but we'll sort that out in a sec. I just want to get the form of it right first. As I said, if you make a mistake, all you do is just heat it back up and pull it off. You can pull the whole thing off again, you know, it doesn't have to, you know, if you've made a complete arse of it. there she is, done. So we've got a nice sort of ½ centimetre overlap on the inside, which is tidy enough. There's a little crease there, but I'm not too bothered about that. And that's what she looks like. So I hope that was to some benefit to some of you. If you are thinking about trying it yourself, give it a bash, see what happens. You know, the worst thing you can do is you mess it up and you just heat it up and pull it off. And then you can just clean over the hugger with alcohol again if you've got some glue on there. And that's it. Okay then, thanks for watching.